Basically, today's session, I'll be gladly guiding you through our new product, our new innovation, the Helios 700. My name is Dr. Abdurrahman Al-Hawari. I'm from Egypt. I'm currently the digital and clinical instructor for Eighteeth Medical. I've met many of you guys before, either online or offline, had the privilege of doing so. And today I'm having the privilege of meeting you again. It's just a quick session. The outline of the session, we will be introducing the device, the specs of the device, and we will go on how to perfectly use it. And in the end, we will showcase some cases that were actually done with the Helios 700. First of all, I'll be highlighting what's new, okay, and the specs and the selling points for the new wireless intraoral, of course. So we do have a full arch accuracy of 60 microns. So in regard to the Helios 500, for example, we do have an improved accuracy of 4 extra microns. And to be honest, when it comes to single crowns or when it comes to short span bridges, it will make a huge difference, but this plays a huge role when it comes to complex restorative cases or complex implant prosthodontic cases. So with, for example, full arch implant cases that we are restoring using either bridges or using a framework or using a bar, in the end, each micron counts. So in complex cases, now we do have a flagship scanner that would perform perfect with complex restorative and implant prosthodontics cases. Second thing is the scanning depth. We do have a scanning depth of 20 millimeters. And let me clarify here that Eighteeth is one of the few companies that actually put the true scanning depth inside their catalogs, because there's false marketing going on in the market right now that other companies, they are calculating the scanning depth in actually a wrong way. But now the correct way to calculate the scanning depth and the most honest way is to actually calculate it from outside of the tip of your scanner. So when we calculate the scanning depth from outside of the tip of the Helios 700, it's 20 millimeters. But here's the tip. Based on your technique during scanning and based on your manipulation of the scanner, you could include the area of interest somehow inside the scanning tip. And by including the area of interest inside the scanning tip, you could actually increase your scanning depth up to 4 millimeters extra. So yes, the scanning depth is 20 millimeters, and this is recorded from outside of the tip, but based on your manipulation, you could increase the scanning depth up to 24 millimeters. And I do believe that this number is really large. But the thing is, the scanning depth is not just to detect deep margins. Whenever the scanning depth increases, the overall scanning experience increases, because whenever the scanning depth increases, the amount of information that the scanner obtains or the camera of the scanner obtains within a single stitch also increases. So it makes the overall scanning experience better, smoother, and faster. When it comes to the speed, so we could say that we could take the full arch in 30 seconds, for example, but this is dependable on the case, dependable on the operator, dependable on the quality of the laptop that you are using. So in order to actually evaluate the speed of the scanner, we'd like to refer to it using the frames per second. So we do have a 20 FPS within the Helios 700. And this 20 FPS could actually operate that you could take full arch scans in 30 seconds. But like I told you, it's dependable on many factors, but you could take it in 30 seconds, a full arch scan with a prepped tooth or, sorry? So you could take a full arch scan with a prep tooth and with recording the area of interest, but of course, while going on through the whole scanning protocol in a correct way in 30 seconds. And moving on to the batteries, which is a very important thing with a wireless scanner. I know that any doctor, for example, when he starts buying a wireless scanner or any wireless device, actually the first thing they complain of or the first thing that they fear of is the batteries. But to be honest, this is just the evolution of everything. So we have had mobile phones, they were all wired. The phones, for example, they were wired, and then they started to be mobile phones, which are completely wireless and they don't have any wires. Same goes for the PCs. We used to have desktops, just desktops that were completely wired, then everything switched to wireless. So this is how everything is going, and this has actually affected the dental industry. So for example, the endomotors and the endomotors, they were all wired back in the day, like 10 years ago. The famous endomotors in the markets, they were all wired, but then the eConnect Pro actually entered the market, and it was the first reliable wireless endomotor from a Chinese company to enter the market, and it had a huge success since then. It's been in the market for almost 9 or 10 years, and this is just the evolution of everything. So now we have our wireless scanner, and with two batteries, not just one, we have two batteries that come attached. Each battery of 3,100 milliamperes, which could actually give you more than 100 minutes of scanning time for each one. We are talking about 130 minutes of more than 100 minutes of scanning time for each one. You could reach 130 minutes during scanning using these batteries, and we have two attached batteries coming, so you could actually just pop one in when it's done, or when its charging is finished, you just pop it out and place the other one inside. So I believe that like Eighteeth was one of the first companies worldwide to produce a wireless endomotor that was really reliable. Now, also our Helios 700 will be one of the most reliable wireless intraoral scanners in the market. We have been actually testing this scanner for a while now. Anyone who has visited the HQ last year in the dealers conference, you could actually test one of the prototypes. So we have been testing prototypes for more than a year now in order to make sure that we are producing something that is really reliable and is up to the reputation of Eighteeth. Also, something that every dentist fears of when it comes to a wireless scanner is the connectivity range. Because if you buy a wireless scanner, so you want to be free of wires. You want to move with it through your whole center. Either you're having one room, two rooms, or three rooms. You want to move with your scanner overall your center. So the connectivity range is something that is really important, and we do have a connectivity range of 6 meters. So you could be away of the laptop or the main PC up to 6 meters. And this is a huge number when it comes to the connectivity range. And after personally using the Helios 700, so I've had two very important things that AI found. Automatic calibration is something with the whole Helios series. Our scanners, they do not come with a calibration kit, so the whole hassle of calibrating your scanner is completely eliminated with the whole Helios series. And one of the most important things and the huge difference with the Helios is that we have now an optimal byte registration and byte recording. So one of the dilemmas of intraoral scanners in general is accurate byte registration and accurate byte recording. And the byte registration and byte recording is improved to a huge extent using the Helios 700 because of hardware features and also software features. And we will be clarifying how you would optimally take a byte registration or optimally record the byte of your patient forward on the presentation. So the Helios series software. So now regarding the Helios 700 software, it actually has the functions of the Helios series software in general. So it's that what I always like to say, it's not just a scanning software, it's more than just a scanning software. Back in the day, when you used to buy a scanner, you would just have a scanning. So you to take an upper arch scan, a lower arch scan, and a byte scan, and you just export these scans in whatever language you want to export, for example, PLY, STL, or OBG. But now we are in continuous development. So we are always developing our hardware, and we're also developing our software. So our software software is more than just a scanning software. It's not just about scanning. One of the things is that we have an AI analysis and patient report. You could do a full analysis in which after you just took a scan, you would just press a button, one click, and a complete analysis of the patient's mouth with complete diagnosis of the patient's problems and a probable solution for the problems that the patient has. And you could generate a QR code like this one, and you could take actually, you could scan this QR code now to see the kind of report that actually is produced by our software. And the patient could actually scan this QR code and have a full PDF report of all of his oral conditions, the problems and the solutions within his mobile phone. Moreover, we do have now two applications that are concerned with orthodontics and orthodontists in general. First is the ortho simulation, which is really essential and really important for patient communication and patient encouragement. More than patient communication, it's important for patient encouragement because it shows the patient that he would start his orthodontic treatment at point A and finish at point B. The second one would be the ortho model builder. The ortho model builder is an application inside our software which allows you to build a model for orthodontic purposes, because not all orthodontic appliances are digitally made. Still, some orthodontic appliances need to be handcrafted. So in order to handcraft an orthodontic device, you need to have a proper model. So within our software, and this is completely for free, you could actually build this model in order to have a file to be able to print this model out. And last but not least, which is the margin line drawing part. The margin line drawing part is more of a designing software thing. So this is the first step in doing a design over a designing software, whatever the designing software is to actually draw the margin line or trace the margin line. So now we do have also this function within our Helios series software. So we're giving you the first step of a designing software is actually available within our scanning software. So when it comes to the Helios 700, we like to say that we do have what we call AI-powered scanning. So basically, AI is getting into all aspects of our lives now, all aspects in our lives when it comes to everything, so not just dental. So we need to have our share of AI in our dental field, and we do have a huge share of AI when it comes to the Helios 700. So we do have multiple AI functions. They're not just three. We do have multiple AI functions when it comes to the Helios 700. First one is the AI texture enhancement. So basically, the AI texture enhancement means that now the resolution of our scans are much better than it used to be. So we do have we could say that it's an HD scanning resolution. So basically, the colors of the scan resembles the natural colors of the patient's mouth to a huge extent. And we do have AI soft tissue detection and elimination. Like all of all of you guys are previous users for the Helios. So you do know that we have an AI button that is available at the bottom of the screen of the Helios software. And you could place it on, you could place it on auto, or you could place it on off. Basically, in order to know when to place it on, in order to know when to place it on off and when to place it on auto, we need to know how actually this AI functions. So basically, this button is for AI soft tissue detection and elimination. So whenever you are scanning for restorative procedures, you do not want any excess soft tissue to be in your scan. For example, the patient's lip or the patient's tongue or your finger while scanning. You would like all of this to be eliminated in order to have as accurate scan as possible. So we always keep the AI function in this situation on. But if it's working for soft tissue elimination, soft tissue detection, excess soft tissue detection and elimination, there are many cases in which we actually want to record soft tissue as much as possible. For example, if we are doing a full arch implant case that we want to do a full arch implant prosthodontics, or we want to place a complete denture. So basically, all what we are scanning now is soft tissue. So I need to give my scanner the input that I'm now scanning soft tissue by closing the AI or at least placing it on auto for order for the scanner to give me the opportunity to be able to scan soft tissue as much as possible. Because if I'm placing it on and all what I'm scanning is soft tissue, then basically it will just keep on eliminating the soft tissue. So our scanners or our Helios series scanners, they can perfectly scan full arch edentulous cases, but when we stick to our recommended workflow. So our recommended workflow is then to either place the AI on auto or either place it on off. Another AI function is the AI automatic adaptive color and accuracy calibration. So while you are scanning, we have automatic color and accuracy calibration that is going on while you're actually scanning. So this is an AI function also. And moving on to the AI implant detection. So now within our implant workflow, we used to detect the implant cuffs or implant locations manually. And I'll show you through a video when we start showcasing our cases, the AI implant detection, how we do the AI implant detection automatically and not manually. And last but not least, the one that we just talked about is the AI analysis and the patient report. So we do actually have five AI functions. So that's why we call it AI powered scanning while using the Helios 700. So we have talked about the accuracy, right? So we have talked about the accuracies, for example, 60 microns for the Helios 700, but we need to understand actually how is the accuracy calculated. So basically, the accuracy is calculated. It's called the full arch accuracy of 16 microns, which means that the maximum amount of deviation over a whole arch is 16 microns. This is for the Helios 700, okay? The maximum amount of deviation over the full arch is 16 microns. So the maximum amount of difference that could happen from reality, the maximum amount of difference from reality that could actually occur over our scan is 16 microns. And this is over a full arch area. So this actually means, and this is a small tip, that whenever we decrease the scanning area, we are decreasing the maximum amount of deviation indirectly. So indirectly, we are increasing the scanner's accuracy. So let me clarify it once more. If the maximum amount of deviation over the whole arch is 16 micron, then if we take the half, we just scan the half of the arch, then the maximum amount of deviation will decrease because we have decreased the scanning area, which would indirectly increase my scanner's accuracy. And that's why we say that the maximum amount of deviation is 16 microns, but the single tooth accuracy over our scanner is actually 8 microns. So whenever I'm doing actually a single crown, for example, a single crown case, and we do have a normal occlusion of the patient and not a catastrophic occlusion, for example, I just go with a half arch scan. I don't take a full arch scan. I just go with a half arch scan in order to decrease the scanning area, which would in turn decrease the maximum amount of deviation of the scanner and would indirectly increase my scanner's accuracy. And in order to be able to actually perform all of this, we need to know how to perfectly use our scanner. So in order to know how to perfectly use our scanner, we have three things that we have to put in mind. First thing, and it's really important, is the laptop itself that we are using. So we need to have a laptop of these requirements, and these, let me clarify that these are the minimum requirements. We do have other recommended requirements that would assure us better performance, and we could supply to, with you after our session is done. But this is the minimum requirements that could get you going. And what's really important is the processor part. I personally recommend that we stick to the Intel processor and not the Ryzen processor. This is a personal recommendation because Ryzen processors are mostly not that well functioning with designing and scanning softwares in general, not just the Helios. They are not the best when it comes to the performance regarding dental softwares in general. And when it comes to the graphics card, it's really important that we have a graphics card of at least 30 and 60 gigabytes, 3060 and 8 gigabytes. This is NVIDIA GeForce. So these all are gaming laptops or gaming requirements. Second thing, when it comes to perfectly using the scanner, would be the scanner itself. Make sure always that while scanning, you do have a clean scanner mirror, because we are always in a rush, and especially after the scanner mirror is out from the autoclave, too many things happening in the autoclave, too many heat, so sometimes you need to wipe it. It's not that clear, it's a little bit foggy. So always make sure that the scanner mirror before scanning is completely clean. And always also make sure that the LED light of the dental chair is closed, because the scanner has a lighting system that is actually projecting a light. If you are directing the LED light of the dental chair over the patient's mouth, then it would disturb the light that is coming out of the scanner, which would in turn disturb the whole scanning procedure. So you need to close the LED light of the dental chair. And also, if you do have a lamp, for example, in your operating room that is directed directly above the dental chair, please try to make it dim as much as possible or close it. And the last thing would be to correctly hold your scanner. Okay, so back in the day, scanners were really heavy. So we used to hold the scanners like this, but now all the scanners that are produced by Eighteeth, they are light in weight. And let me clarify that with our battery attached inside the Helios 700, it has a weight of 225 grams only. So we could easily hold it in a pen grasp way. Pen grasp way is the best way for holding all dental devices mainly. It gives us better manipulation and ease of use inside the patient's mouth. Last but not least would be the patient himself. And by the patient, I mean the area of interest. So the area of interest and the prep teeth, they must be dry as much as possible. Okay, so we're not talking here dryness or isolation like in root canals, for example. No, we are talking here just dryness enough that you don't have a salivary film or a blood film that is all over your margin. So you need to instruct your dentist and your clients that actually the optical impressions, yes, they are so similar to the standard impression techniques, but they are similar in the conclusion. But in the way that they both operate, they are not that similar. So in general, you have to have an area of interest and the prep teeth dry as much as possible. Each dentist has his own way of achieving dryness and achieving bleeding control. But one of the ways is just to drop anesthesia, just dropping small drops of anesthesia to the buccal and the lingual areas of the gingiva in order to create some vasoconstriction, in order to decrease the bleeding. And moving on to another tip, small tip, is to use just retraction cord that is impregnated with either a hemostop or a hydrogen peroxide inside the gingiva in order to also do some vasoconstriction to decrease the bleeding around the area of interest. Another thing, that the teeth margins must be clear. So a very small scanner will only be able to detect what your eyes can see. So if your eyes can see the margin, then the scanner will easily detect it. If your eyes cannot see the margin, then the scanner will not penetrate the sulcus and detect the margins. And always keep the retraction cord up to 3 to 5 minutes. And please remember, you don't have any benefit of keeping it. We do not gain any benefit of keeping the retraction cord inside the sulcus during scanning. It actually could cause multiple scanning errors. So please just remove it before scanning. This is the ideal situation for taking a scan. So as you can see here, we have a margin that you could detect with your eyes, 360 degrees, gingiva that has undergone some bleeding control using cautery or using a retraction cord that was impregnated with a hemostop. So there's no blood oozing from the gingiva, there's no blood over the margin, and the margin is clear 360. This is how a scanner would operate in such a case. Okay, so if you are giving your scanner the best situation and the optimal situation, then the scanner will perform in the optimal way.